Following the evasive and misleading testimony of TikTok's CEO at a congressional hearing last week, Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy announced yesterday House Republicans will move forward to ban the social media platform due to privacy concerns and TikTok's connection to the Chinese Communist Party. But despite the Biden administration echoing that such a ban may be necessary, many Democrats have signaled they do not support such a move. So the question is, will Republicans and national security prevail? Joining me now to discuss this and more is Congressman Tim Burchett. He serves on the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, the Committee on Foreign Affairs, and the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. He represents the 2nd Congressional District of Tennessee. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me, Tony. It's always a pleasure, brother.
So, Congressman, before we get into today's topics, I'm sure, like many, your thoughts are on what happened in Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely. What this country needs is a revival, Tony. I think it's being reported that the little girl that did the shooting was actually a little boy, a young man who was transgender, whatever you want to call it. I honestly feel like this is some sort of demonic possession that has gotten into our world today, and it's become accepted when you have this White House has two men that wear dresses. One of them was fired because he was stealing dresses at the airport. And this is just continuation. Obviously, it's a mental health issue, and it's just a complete and total tragedy. And it's and all the laws and all the politicians pontificating back and forth are not going to solve it. Until we have revival in this country, I'm afraid this is going to be more the norm than the exception.
Congressman, I agree with you 100%. When we kicked God out of our schools and out of the lives of our children, guns and everything else has taken its place, and confusion reigns in the classrooms of America. And I know that's politically incorrect, but, we're going to have to reach a point where these tragedies are daily occurrences before we come to a point of accepting the fact that we need God in America again.
100%. We've kicked God to the curb, and we wonder what the heck is going on in our world today. And it's just, that we've allowed this bunch to infiltrate our schools, our public. I realize this is a private school, and the situation's unfolding. And I don't want to say too much, but it is a complete tragedy, and it's a complete failure on the Christian community, actually. 20 million so-called evangelical Christians decided to stay home this last election cycle, and we're gonna reap the whirlwind because of it, I'm afraid, if we are not very careful, Tony.
I think you're right in that, this is a private school, but we're not beyond the reach of the culture and the corrupting and the chaotic influence of that culture. So we all have a stake in this. And as you pointed out, one of the most simple things to do is vote. That's why around here, we say we need to pray. We need to pray for our nation. We need to pray for those in office. We need to pray for those to run for office. Then we need to vote. And then we need to stand for truth. Pray, vote, stand. And that's the role of every believer in America.
Absolutely. One positive thing, if there ever was, that came out of this COVID situation was that parents started looking over their kids' shoulders of what they were learning in the classroom. And I hope that creates a groundswell of the local races. We, as in the evangelical Christian community, and I throw myself in this bunch, we focus on the big elections, Congress, Senate, president, but the races that affect us the most are at the local levels, is our school boards, our city councils, our mayors. We forget so many times the things. I was a county mayor, and just so much stuff can slip through the cracks if you don't have folks that are truly God-fearing, that are watching over what's going on, and we lose so much that way.
Yeah. Every level is important. In fact, even those local levels are more important, I believe, than even what happens in Congress. In Congress here, what I like to say in D.C., we're just trying to keep the barbarians at bay. The real ground is gained there in local communities all across America. So, Tim, I want to move on here to the TikTok hearing last week and Speaker McCarthy's plan to move forward with banning the platform. Your thoughts?
Well, again, I stand 100% with Kevin McCarthy. I think he's coming on strong in everything he's done. The Parents' Bill of Rights last week we passed in the House, and TikTok. It is a incredible influencer with our young people. The Chinese in their country use it as an educational tool. Over here, you got to remember the Chinese Communist Party is an evil, evil organization that seeks to overturn and overthrow the entire world. And people better wake up, because what they do with our kids, they show these kids these, and I'll use, for instance, little girls. A friend of mine was telling me his daughter has a little bit of depression. She's maybe a little bigger than some of her friends, and she watches these TikTok videos, and they are very misleading. And they show little girls, the happy one, the pretty one, the one that gets the boy, and all that stuff. And it creates an image. And the Chinese are using this to influence the mental capacity of our children. And we better wake up. It is an enemy. They're using it. They use it to poach all of our information. They bug all of our phones. They know where we are, what we're doing, what we're buying. Everything is on there. And if it was a United States institution doing it, we'd shut it down. The Communist Chinese have infiltrated every level of government, our Congress, our White House, our local levels. I know Secretary Pompeo told me that they're even down to the PTA level in some communities. We better wake up. TikTok is a dangerous, dangerous apparatus, and it needs to be banned.
So just to be clear, Congressman, you serve on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, so this is type stuff that you look at. Is TikTok a proxy for the Chinese Communist Party?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're using it to influence our children, influence our minds. These kids will stay on these things 8, 10, 12 hours a day, just watching these videos and picking up. I want my children my daughter, I want her to be influenced by me and her mama. I don't want some out of country or somebody or a communist influence to control things in her mind, because that's exactly what they attempt to do. You got to remember, the Communist Chinese, they had a plan. They were going to drop a nuclear bomb on their own people just to see how it would react. They called it off at some of the higher levels, but that's the line of thought these people are. They have no sense of family, no sense of anything. It's just the power structure will exist and will further them. And to do that, they will destroy us in every aspect of our lives. And these, I hear all my friends saying across the aisle, talking about, well, we need to analyze this. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We need some laws on the books. The Communist Chinese do not follow our laws or rules. They go around them. They own politicians. We have politicians that are compromised, and I think you're seeing the exact results of that right now.
Yeah, I do think that years of complacency has brought forth the fruit of it, and we're seeing it right now. Congressman Burchett, final question for you. The White House has signaled that, this may need to happen, but as you made reference, Democrats, the other side of the aisle, saying, not sure, we need to study it more. Will Republicans succeed here in protecting national security and getting this bill across the line?
I think we will. I think we'll get it out of the House. It's going to happen in the Senate. And there might be a couple of Democrats that cross over. The Democrats, though, will, it's the carrot and the stick. Like I've said many times, if they're rewarded with the carrot, and if they don't, they get the stick. And they'll vote the country down the tubes just to stay in power. And that, unfortunately, bleeds over some. We've got to be very careful. But I'd call my congressperson and call my U.S. senator and tell them, ban TikTok. We don't need it.
We'll do just that. Congressman Tim Burchett, always great to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday.